Yes, I'm not just talking about a volcano eruption, but that. Did you see it? Lightning coming from this volcano. Pretty cool.
The gap between video games and reality keeps getting smaller. Railguns, exoskeletons, and high-powered lasers have all made the jump to nonfiction. Now a lightning weapon joins the arsenal. Here's WEWS with the amazing story.
The U.S. Army is building a device that could shoot lightning bolts down laser beams to take out a target. They recently tested it, and it was successful.
It's called the Laser-Induced Plasma Channel, which translates to laser lightning gun. Cue references to Zeus, Thor, and the Emperor from Star Wars. The hosts of HLN had some fun with it.
Let me think about this. It's going to shoot lightning bolts down laser beams?
They're going to strap them to the heads of sharks? I mean, it sounds like a James Bond thing.
The weapon works by putting out an incredible amount of energy in a very short time, which actually turns the air into plasma. A writer for Gizmodo explains, from that point on, the weapon works just like a lightning strike. The electrical current will then lock onto anything that conducts electricity better than the surrounding air, like the chassis of a vehicle or the tooth fillings of a terrorist, then make it melt or explode.
It happens when we get rock and ash that collide. They generate static electricity. They're known as dirty thunderstorms. I like to call them electric volcanoes, and they actually happen about a third of the time when we have volcanic eruptions. In fact, the earliest observation of one of these was way back in '79.
Well, in the wake of the Kilauea volcano that destroyed hundreds of homes in Hawaii this year, there's a new report out, and it's the USGS, the U.S. Geological Survey. They're saying that 18 volcanoes in the U.S. are a very high threat, and it's mainly because of what's happening inside them and their proximity to people. Kilauea tops the danger list. You got a couple other in the top 5 that include Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens in Washington, as well as Mount Shasta in California and Red Doubt volcano in Alaska. 11 of the 18 most dangerous volcanoes are in Oregon, Washington, and California, and experts basically are cautioning that it's not a list of which one's going to blow next, but the potential severity of the damage. And just in case you were wondering, there have been about 120 eruptions in the U.S. since 19...
Looks at the potential risks from the 161 volcanoes in this country. The U.S. Geological Survey says the most dangerous is Hawaii's Kilauea, the Big Island volcano that's been erupting this year. Lava has destroyed about 600 homes so far. A total of 18 volcanoes in the U.S. are classified as very high threat. They are potentially destructive because of what's happening inside them and how close they are to people.
In its weekly Volcano Watch article, the USGS wrote that the recent activity at Kilauea marked a watershed for science. The summit collapse was the largest since the year 1800. It included the strongest summit explosions since 1924. Only 3 comparable events have occurred at basaltic volcanoes worldwide in the past 50 years. The magnitude 6.9 earthquake that struck Kilauea's south flank on May 4, 2018, was the largest in Hawaii since 1975. Aftershocks are still being felt, including a magnitude 3.8 quake on October 20th. Also during the recent eruption, the emission rate of sulfur dioxide gas was the highest ever measured at Kilauea, and the lava production rate from Fissure 8 was about 3 times higher than during the 1955 and 1960 Lower East Rift Zone eruptions. The Volcano Watch article said that the summit collapse explosions were a, quote, head-scratcher in that they were remarkably predictable. Scientists will be working to answer the question, why would such catastrophic events follow a well-behaved pattern? The article also asks, what comes next? Lava could return to the floor of Halemaumau like it did in July 1924 after the collapse and explosions in May of that year. On the other hand, the article notes that there was no active lava on the volcano for 18 years from 1934 to 1952. So, Kilauea could stay quiet for decades.
A massive earthquake causes the huge bulge on the mountain to collapse, removing a mile-wide chunk of the north face. With an energy equivalent to 1,500 Hiroshima atom bombs, rock and superheated gas shoot from the volcano at terrifying speeds of up to 400 miles per hour. Such is the force of Mount St. Helens lateral eruption that an incredible 1,300 feet of mountain disappears almost instantly. Now the eruption enters its next phase. Expanding magma inside the volcano sends thousands of tons of scorching rock and gas high into the atmosphere. A dense plume of ash stretches 15 miles high. The choking ash fills the air outside, turning the sky dark. Breathing becomes almost impossible. In the minutes after the eruption, 46 billion gallons of icy meltwater start to pour down the mountainside, gathering rock and debris to create a lethal slurry called a lahar. The deadly lahar becomes a massive tsunami of destruction. Scientists scramble into the air to get an overview of the unfolding disaster.
I was awed by what I was seeing. We could see this tremendous eruption column and all the energy that there must be in it.
Navigation is almost impossible. The ground below now bears no resemblance to any of their maps.
There were lots of fires burning. Within the cloud, there were mixtures of ash and rocks, older rocks from the volcano, and a lot of steam from melting glacial ice.
Mount St. Helens continues to erupt until late in the afternoon. Ashfall forced towns and cities up to 300 miles away into a state of emergency shutdown. In just over 2 weeks, the ash circled the entire globe. Officially the deadliest, most destructive volcanic eruption in U.S. history, the eruption ultimately claimed 57 lives.